Most mythological disasters start with massive wars or cosmic catastrophes, but according to one of Japan's oldest legends, the day the world went dark began with an argument between two siblings. It involved Susanoo, spirit of the sea and storms, and his sister, the sun goddess Amaterasu. Before Susanoo left heaven to reside on Earth, they decided to exchange tokens of their affection. The exchange was high-stakes magic. Amaterasu took her brother's sword, chewed off pieces of the metal blade, and spat them out. Instantly, the fragments transformed into 3 daughters. Susanoo then took jewels from his sister's hair, crunched them with his teeth, and spat them out to create 5 sons. But the harmony ended there. The siblings immediately began to quarrel over who owned the children. Amaterasu claimed the sons were hers because they came from her jewels, while the storm god claimed them because he was the one who crunched them. Even for gods, petty jealousy proved impossible to avoid. Enraged by the argument, Susanoo went on a destructive rampage. He swept through his sister's rice fields, crushing the crops and ruining her land. He threw manure across her gardens and terrified her maidens so badly that they injured themselves on their spinning wheels. Amaterasu was so offended by her brother's cruelty that she went into a deep sulk. She abandoned the world, retreating into a remote cave and sealing herself inside. Because she was the source of all light, her disappearance was a catastrophe. The sun vanished from the sky, plunging both heaven and earth into a total blackout. The universe was now a cold, dark vacuum. With the sun goddess refusing to come out, the remaining gods had to find a way to coax her back before everything withered away. Thousands of gods gathered in a dry riverbed to discuss the crisis. In the absolute darkness, they had to rely on the glow of bonfires just to see one another. They tried the most direct approach first. They stood outside the cave and called Amaterasu by name, but she ignored them, lurking deep within the shadows. When words failed, they turned to craftsmanship. They forged a brilliant bronze mirror, hoping a gift of such beauty might tempt her to peek outside. They didn't stop there. The gods prepared a beautiful dress and strings of polished blue jewels, piling them outside the cave as a peace offering. But Amaterasu remained unmoved. Material gifts weren't enough to break her mood. They needed to find a way to trigger her curiosity. The gods realized that if they couldn't bribe her out, they would have to distract her. To do this, they invented a completely new concept: the spectacle of music. They began a massive, noisy concert. They clashed cymbals, banged wooden clappers, and even got farmyard roosters to join in the cacophony. The goddess of mirth took center stage. She stood on a giant wooden drum that thundered with every step of her dance, ringing a stick of bells to add to the rhythm. As she pranced and waved her arms, her dress, held together only by vines, began to loosen. Eventually, it fell off entirely, leaving her dancing with nothing on at all. The sight was so ridiculous, the entire assembly of gods broke out into uncontrollable, thunderous laughter. This was the trap. The gods were betting that the sound of joy and celebration would be more than Amaterasu's curiosity could handle. Inside the cave, the sound of the laughter was confusing. Amaterasu couldn't understand why the other gods were celebrating while the world was in ruins. Finally, she peeked out to see what was happening. The gods had placed the mirror exactly in her path. As she looked out, she saw not the dancers, but her own face reflecting back. She stood stunned by her own beauty, providing the gods their only opening. A strong god pulled her into the open. Instantly, light flooded the world. The grass turned green, flowers bloomed, and the natural order was restored. The operation was a success. The blackout ended not through a fight, but through a clever play on the sun goddess's own ego. This story isn't just about how the sun came back. It serves as an ancient record of how the gods gave a lasting gift to humanity. To end the darkness, the gods had to create rhythm, movement, and comedy. These weren't just distractions, they were the tools used to save the world. The legend provides an explanation for why these arts exist today. It suggests music and dance are divine inventions, born to turn despair into joy. There is a deep irony in the cause and the result, a petty sibling rivalry led directly to the arts that still define human culture. The gifts used to lure the sun from her cave are those we still use to find light when our world feels dark.